Hogstye.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Hogseye. If you are listening to this on Thursday, happy draft day. We are recording this. By the way, guys, we are exactly 24 hours from when Washington should be picking because it is 8:52 on my clock here. And given where Washington's drafting and the draft starts at 8, this should be right around when Washington makes their selection.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
close.
yeah.
Or they trade back.
Or they trade
See,
back.
this should be the federal holiday, the national holiday, not the Super Bowl.
The Thursday now
I-
draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll
Let's
tell you
have a
what,
random
I would.
Thursday holiday.
I would not disagree with that at all.
Yeah. Thanksgiving and the NFL draft, the two Thursday holidays.
Listen,
I'm
if
okay
we
with
can
that.
celebrate President's Day, we can celebrate the draft.
I'm fine.
Sure.
I'm fine with it. Look, hey, you know what? I do happen to know the federal government will be closed for the next draft because there's
Listen,
no
the federal
way.
government might be closed permanently. It ought to close permanently for all the good they do the country, which is zero. Let's just
I-
go, full on democracy and have the people run themselves.
Well, that
And
would be
nothing could
anarchist,
possibly-
not-
That would be
nothing could
anarchy.
possibly go
Yeah.
yeah.
And nothing could possibly go wrong with that.
We did try that. By the way, my pet peeve about this whole it's the 250th birthday of the nation. It's not. That's like not for another decade because we did have that Articles of Confederation thing that didn't work for 4 years. Like it
It's a
really
minor
was like
detail, Alex.
yeah, just numbers and math, you know.
It's a minor detail. Who cares?
Yes. It'll be 47 is actually our 250-year anniversary. Just so y'all know. Anyway, yes, but the draft next year, of course, in DC. That's why I was kind of saying what I was saying.
Oh, I didn't realize it was in DC next year.
Yeah, 2027 is a DC draft.
Uh,
It'll be
Man.
chaos.
yeah,
And
I
where-
don't
where-
even know. Is it on the mall?
It's gonna be on the mall. They got a
Wow.
waiver to do it on the mall. Like for those who don't know, you're technically not allowed to do for-profit things on the mall. Like protests are allowed because they're not non-for-profit. They had to make these special exemptions to do things like championship parades and the NFL draft.
Yeah, but the NFL, you could get 500,000 people there for the NFL
Oh,
draft.
they're expecting over 1 million is what they're claiming.
I mean, I don't know what the biggest presidential inauguration is. Do you know off the top of your head, Alex?
It was Obama's. It was 1.5 million ish.
Okay, and so you're talking about in the range of a presidential inauguration,
right.
which is a major logistical problem in
Right,
Washington
right.
D.C.
Well, and-
Special security issues,
Yes. Let's be clear. Most inaugurations are under 500,000. That was just because it was Obama and that was a big deal.
Yeah.
So, like, I think Trump's first one had less than 100,000. I don't know what his last one was. I never actually looked up that number.
I don't know. I don't care
yeah.
about any of them particularly. So
I know. As a DC guy though, like it is a thing that we all like learn. It's just
have you ever gone to one?
I've been to several inaugurations in my life. Yeah.
Could you get close enough to see anything for any of them?
Oh, I as a kid, my dad would take me to the parade route every year. So, like, it was all just the parade route. We didn't go to like the mall part of it because you can't see anything if you're on the mall.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Right,
Y-
right.
yeah,
I-
you'd have to be a VIP to get anywhere remotely
Right.
near it.
I didn't go to the inauguration for Obama just because I knew it would be a madhouse. And
I would
had
have gone for a whole nother reason, but
right,
continue.
but my friends who went, the closest they could get is they were standing at the Lincoln, or not Lincoln, the Washington Monument. I'm like, you're 2 miles away from what's actually happening at that point. It doesn't matter.
You need a TV to
Right.
see it.
Well, and they do that. They set up TVs all along the mall now.
I just stay home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might go to the draft just for shits and giggles. That's my thinking. But, you know.
Well, what we need to do is work on media credentials again.
Yeah, we could try that. I've told my wife leave town. That's the plan.
You told your wife to leave town?
Yeah.
Are you staying?
I'll stay in DC for the
You're just gonna throw her out of town?
Well, you know what? It's her birthday weekend or our anniversary weekend. It always falls along the two. So she and her girlfriends can go and do something fun. That's my
See,
thinking.
that sounds better than you first phrased it. It's like you were throwing her out there, for a minute.
Yeah.
See, our fourth cast member is very upset about it, how you were
Yeah.
phrasing how you're treating your wife.
Well, like Dave, you went when it was in Philly, didn't you?
Actually, we had planned to go, but it never materialized to go,
Oh,
and
okay.
it wound up it wound up being for the best anyway because of how it all arranged. I mean, it wasn't a bad time, but
Mm.
it was so much better being in the comfort of your own home anyway.
Look, I think the draft. The real question is if you're like a day 3 draft guy. If you're going on day 3, you're probably just a mess of a human being, right? At that point, like that's insanity. Now that it's a
I've
3-day event.
watched entire day threes of the draft.
Oh yeah, I've watched it, but could you imagine going and standing there for day 3 of the draft? Oh my gosh, guys, the 230th pick is
Yeah, I don't know what I would do with
Division 3 left
yeah.
guard,
I don't know
So
what I would do with
exciting.
myself, standing
Right.
there all that
Right.
time.
Exactly.
And Kobe the dog, yes, he was upset about the draft in DC, but he
Right.
was also barking at the world's tiniest dog
Oh, okay.
outside, but like a dog that was 10% of his size.
Are we saying it might actually just be like a nutria or something?
No, it was on a leash. It was just
Hey,
very,
you
very,
might have
very
some
small.
weird hipster neighbor who walks their pet nutria.
I didn't recognize the neighbor. I don't know who she was.
Yes. All right. Well, yes, obviously the draft is here. If you are listening to this after the draft, I don't know what to tell you because like it's happened. Go
Listen
move on.
anyway,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
see how close we were, and you can make fun
That's
of us.
true.
If
That's
nothing
true.
else.
Because we're gonna do our mock drafts right now. You can make fun of how off we all get. So the game was, what was the name of the site? It's stick to the model. That's what we.
I
used
didn't
to-
like your site, by the way, Alex.
You
Just
don't
for the
you don't like
record.
that one?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, it was too. I couldn't figure out a way to easily list just my picks. Like
after
Fanspeak
that.
does that. Yeah, I had to
That's
hunt
true.
down my picks.
That's true.
You literally had a tab up top. If you clicked on that tab, it was just of every
But
single team on top. You just click on it.
I wanted just Washington. I didn't see that. I didn't see just Washington. Maybe I missed it, but
You
yeah,
did
it's like
miss
literally
it.
right straight across on the top.
Yeah. It's see all picks or see Washington.
Yes.
I didn't see any of that on my
Yeah.
version of it. I think I had the different version.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of website issues, if you noticed, ours went down for a little bit this week.
It was Alex's fault.
It was not my fault. It was a fine fellow in India, but he fixed it.
Do you know he was in India?
Judging by his name being very Hindu, and it's not. Hey, at least it didn't like. Hey, call yourself Carl.
No, we had host problems for
Yes.
a couple hours. We apologize.
Yep. Their DNS server went down, and only IT people will know what that means, and that's fine. But
yeah, I don't know. Nor do I care. It's some nerd tech thing. The server had the host had a problem.
Correct. All right, so let's talk mock drafts though. We all did our mocks on that site. Our rules, just so everyone knows, we had a rule in house: no trades. Like you had to stick with Washington's original picks because I do love that mock drafts give you trade options all the time now. That makes them more fun. I have always had that bad habit though. I want every trade you give me. Like, yes, just give me more picks every time.
Either that or it lets you just set up ridiculous trades that it would never.
Which I hate. I hate that. But like, if it offers you, and I'll tell you, I'll give mine. Steve, you posted yours, so
I wrote my column this week was my mock draft,
right.
So you can read that. It's on the site, and we're gonna go over here today.
Right.
Well, but I actually tried to get the computer to do everything all random itself, and somehow Washington accept the trade back to 22, but all the picks were future draft picks apparently because I added no additional draft capital for this
Oh
for this year.
no.
I'm like, what the heck is that? Ain't
Yeah,
no
that's
way you're moving back that far and
You
not getting at least a second
drafted
round
all
pick.
the way down back. You traded all the way down to 22.
No, the computer did.
you had
Oh,
the
oh,
computer to
okay.
want to do that.
I
Oh,
Okay.
wanted to
okay.
see what the computer would pick Washington every round,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
and
I
it
got you.
just
So you had the computer. You did like a AI simulation, is what you did.
yes, basically yes.
Nice. That's fun though.
Shall we get into it though?
Let's get into it. All
All
right.
right.
At number 7, Steve, why don't you go first since yours is posted? We all
Okay.
know.
Sure. And so what I did is I followed my draft board that was last week's column
Right.
for my number 7 pick here. And in this draft, what was the name of the site? On the clock. What was it?
No, not on the clock. We've done on the
Stick to the
clock.
model.
Stick to the model.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I disapprove of them. But in that scenario, the players that have been drafted when we got to number 6 were Fernando Mendoza, Arvil Reese, David Bailey, Sonny Styles, Jeremiah Love, and then Ruben Bain. And so the way I had them ranked was on my draft board was Jeremiah Love, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Carnell Tate, and David Bailey. And so therefore that was easy. I picked Caleb Downs from Ohio State, who was my number 3 on my board over Carnell Tate, who was the only other one left. And I think he fits. They need a safety.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
Even
mad
if
about
he's
that.
not the next Sean Taylor,
yeah.
he's still, considered a Pro Bowl level talent at a minimum.
Mhm.
And so I think he would be great for the team. I mean, they don't really have that. And I think he would help the secondary. Now, he's only thing about him is he's not really much of an interception ball hawk type of guy,
No, he's not.
and I think he's probably more of an in the box safety, than a free safety. So I think what we'd probably see is Will Harris and Downs in this scenario, probably
Right.
starting.
Well, the one thing with Ohio State, they played him in a lot. They played him a lot up. In the box, a lot playing. The receiver in the slot and the tight end and everything. But whenever he played deep center field, it was typically locked down. He has great range for back there.
Yeah,
So
I agree with
he
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
just
just
didn't
mean
play
if you got to
much
pick
deep.
one, if you have to pick one, you'd probably pick in the box. But I think he's got elite potential for sure. No matter
Yes.
what, he's got elite potential.
Well,
Yeah.
So that was
he's
my
my
pick.
favorite player in the draft,
Yeah.
which is odd because when it fell to me at 7, I had between him or Jeremiah Love to pick from. Myself, I'm like, to me, it has to be Caleb Downs, but I went with in terms of not just for need, but what Jeremiah Love does for impact for the offense in Jaden Daniels.
Sure.
And I think that if Jeremiah Love is there, he has to be that guy. He's a typical 3-down back. He could power in between the tackles. He can bounce it to the outside. He's a home run threat, and he's very good out of the backfield as a receiver. You can actually flex him out to a slot position if you needed to. I mean, if Jeremiah Love is there, for as much as I love Downs, it has to be Jeremiah Love, in my opinion, on that.
Oh, I do totally agree with you. I mean, it just in my mock draft, he wasn't available. Now, I did 2 mock drafts actually, and I lost the results to the first one because I closed the website by accident. I had to redo it, and in the second one, he was not available. So hence Downs.
Yeah. Look, yeah, I think if Love were there, I think we'd all be thrilled.
Now one thing that's interesting this week, a lot of rumors are heating up that Arizona apparently is now, because of LaFleur, really considering taking Love on that pick, which would shake up the entire draft.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, there's a lot of talk that Love will go 3 or 4 to Tennessee, and that's
Yeah.
where he went in my mock draft, was to Tennessee. So he was not there for me. First, I will give the options that were available when I did my mock draft, including, just for funsies, here were the trades that the AI system generated.
You're gonna
Kansas
violate
Ci-
your own rule, but go ahead.
I did not accept them. I'm just
Okay,
giving them
all
so
right.
people know what might happen. Let's say Kansas City offers us the 9th pick and the 74th pick for 7. Rams 13th pick and 61st. Miami offers us something worse than Kansas City. I don't know why anyone would take this. 11th and 75th for the 7th round pick. And then this one would be interesting. I want to know your guys' opinion real quick. If the Jets came and offered pick 16 and 33, I mean, I know it depends on who's still there, but that's a pretty enticing offer.
I mean, I'm not one to give up an elite level talent
Right.
for
If
two
the
lesser, so I'd probably say no.
Yeah, you're falling back more than double your draft position. Although that 33rd overall will be highly valuable, but what you fall in that mid-level part of that draft,
Sure.
Yeah.
your chance for a blue chip prospect has dropped drastically at that point because of the depth of this draft itself.
I just think that is probably a very interesting, tempting offer if something like that
Yeah,
happens.
It wasn't tempting to me, but I mean,
Mm.
I
I get
think
it.
I think we're sown for Peters to drop back that far. I think he understands the depth of talent with
Yeah.
this draft, and I'm almost certain he'd probably say, well, if you want me to move back, it's got to be your number one next year as well. If you want to move back that far,
Yeah, yeah. I think you're probably right. He'd want something for the future
yeah,
because, yeah, there is a drop off actually right around where Washington is at 7 versus what's after that. And so the guys who are left on mine, very similar to yours, Steve. Overall, Downs, Bain, Bailey, Tate, big names that were all left. Bain, you guys know I'm out on. I don't think he fits what Washington wants to do in terms of that defensive line. So Steve will be pissed, but I went with Bailey. If you tell me there's the best pass rusher in the draft still there, I always am going to take that over a safety, even, despite the fact that we don't necessarily need it.
Doesn't make me mad. I just think it's
Yeah.
not a good pick.
Yeah. So that would be my call. Do we want to snake draft this thing? So I'll give the next one first.
Well, hey,
Well,
listen,
yeah,
man,
well,
you're in
let's do
charge.
Let's do it. All right. So at 71, I didn't get any trade offers. Uh, we are going with a guy fits a serious need that Washington has, and that is Malachi Fields, the 6'4" wide receiver out of Notre Dame, and also out of Virginia. By the way, he played at UVA for 4 years before transferring. Last year, he had 630 yards, whopping 17 and a half yards per catch. So big guy, 6'4", big play potential there, and kind of fills a role Washington lacks at receiver, while also a major need.
right. Well, it's funny because I had either Malachi Fields or Elijah Surratt that was sitting before me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Malachi Fields still has some development, especially in his pass route. His route tree is limited, although he is a guy that could definitely break the top off the defense to a point,
Mm-hmm.
and he's
Mm-hmm.
a big yards after the catch guy. But I went with Elijah Surratt because Surratt gives exactly what they were trying to fill with Noah Brown, but at a higher floor with him or higher ceiling with him. He's a big, strong receiver, great hands, great contested guy, outstanding in traffic. And he's probably mid-level tier route runner in this draft. So after Makai Lemon and Tate and all them, that's where you have Surratt, right? The tier two,
Mm-hmm.
top of tier two, and I think he's perfect to fit opposite McLaurin, especially with them having the tight end that they have now. So I just think that he was the better fit of the two, especially for the red zone.
Well, I went linebacker at 3. I picked Kyle Lewis from Pittsburgh. Now, I understand that some people see him as a 4-3 linebacker, but number one, I'm not sold on what Durante Jones is even going to do and
Mm-hmm.
defense. And number two, I mean, he's a talented linebacker and he's going to work 5'11", 220 for Pittsburgh, outside guy that could use that. Frankie Louvu, getting
Sure.
older. Um, he has his limitations. And so I think this guy has got a lot of pretty good athletic qualities. 4.5 second 40, which for linebacker standards is good. 39-inch vertical leap, which is really good again for a linebacker. So I think he can work, and I think it really help out the linebacker core. And I tried and failed do a screenshot of what other players were available after him, so I can't comment on it because I don't remember because I
Oh, that's all right.
screenshot the wrong thing. But that was my pick. So I think linebacker fit on my hierarchy of needs.
It's there.
Yeah. So that was my pick.
I have a linebacker later in my draft, so we're on the same page that we need some. Steve, you go next. Remember?
Oh, yes, Snake. You're right. Okay,
Snake
so
end.
round 5, pick 7. This is the wide receiver pick. Josh Cameron, wide receiver from Baylor, 6'1", 220.
Big guy.
He's a big guy, really big
Yeah.
guy. Now his 40 time was kind of range all over the place. There were some reports he's in the 4.4 second range. Some say he was up to the 4.65 range. I didn't care that much because number one, he's a 5th round pick. But more than that, this guy's a big receiver, big receiver. And this is your big target. I think he's got outstanding hands. He's going to catch everything. He has a history of yards after catch, which they need. And so I think this is your interior possession receiver guy of the future right here. So
gotcha.
that is where I went with it. Now I do believe I have this round. Yes.
No.
There's
gotcha.
a bunch of tackles that got drafted right after him, and it seemed like receiver. This is a perfect spot for a receiver, so that's what I went with.
So,
all right, Dave.
In this round, I went with the center out of Michigan State, Matt Golban. He's 6'4", 305 pounds. He's a bit of on a development side on the pass blocking side. And he lacks a little bit of lateral agility, so he still has some development. But in terms as a captain on the line, and in terms of as a run blocker, he's one of the better centers in this game. And I provide in this draft, and he'll provide excellent depth behind Allegretti until he's ready to come in, probably even a year or two away. I think he's a guy that projects to be a potential starter down the road and fills an immediate need that they created this offseason. And he was definitely the best lineman at that point available that I saw. And any linebacker that I had to even consider, I mean, they were like mid to late 6th round options on that. So that's why I went with the center on that one to fill an immediate need. And I think he's got some upside to be a starter in this league.
All right. I went with someone Dave probably will be able to talk more about than I will. Nick Singleton, the running back out of Penn State. He was there, and look, I know Washington had some free agent running backs. You need youth. I think he's physical. He's got good size, decent hands too. I didn't realize he had as many receiving yards as he did. He had almost 1,000 receiving yards in college. So I like that. I like the fact that he's got multiple 1,000-yard seasons. I think that would be a great kind of pick for them there. I know he had a down year, so that's probably why he's not going higher in this draft.
The only problem that I had with Singleton this past year is that he wasn't quite as decisive coming out of the backfield. He was starting to get a little too choppy with his feet. And he's although he has lower body strength, you didn't see him utilize that when he ran, when he ran between the tackles. Everything is, he bounces everything to the outside way too much this past season. The year before was much different. Between him and Allen, I mean, they were guys who were inside, outside type running backs. His past year was like he just got away from it. I think he was dinged up quite a bit this year. But as in the passing game, I mean, he's a guy, you give it to him, and you pass out in the flat, and he's a home run threat almost every time. So that's actually a very good pick at this part of the draft if he falls that far.
Yeah. And look, we all know they need more running backs. So I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that one. All right. Next pick. Steve, I did not rip you off, but I think we happened to pick the same person in the same spot. I picked Red Murdoch.
You ripped me off, man. Come on. That was my pick.
I just like the name, man. Red Murdoch sounds like a linebacker who played in 1948, and
He's related to Red Grange.
Right, right. Definitely the guy who, like, when real helmets came out, said, "No, forget that. I still want to stick with the leather helmet." Red Murdoch there,
Or he
right?
just
Like,
said, "I don't need a helmet at all."
right. Well, helmets are for wimps, you know.
Except helmets are optional.
So yeah, Buffalo linebacker, super productive linebacker, just racked up tackles, 156 and then 142 tackles in his last 2 seasons. So just a machine there. Obviously, we're talking about the 187th pick. This is not going to be a starter. You're bringing in this guy probably for special teams. You're bringing him in to play some cleanup. Uh, but just that, I think adding some linebacker depth, adding some special teams depth there, win-win, right? So
Well, yeah. So for me, yeah, I picked Murdoch too. By the way, did you say Buffalo? 6'1",
yeah,
232 from Buffalo.
yeah,
Um, as I drafted another linebacker, okay,
right,
earlier, but that is an outside linebacker. This is an inside linebacker,
sure,
and the problem for me was, the other players that are kind of available right there, uh, tight ends.
hmm
Washington need tight end, and there were a couple running backs, but what Washington doesn't need is another back of the roster running back. What they actually need is a starting running back. And so I viewed it, whereas inside linebackers, they can always use special teamers.
hmm
They could always use an inside linebacker. Yeah, I realized that, they signed Leo Chanel. I mean, I get it, but for a 6th round pick, I think this guy, he was very, very productive. His only downside, I don't think he's really that athletic, but you can't get it. Look, it's a 6th round pick.
right, right. That's kind of where my thinking was too. Yeah, not a super athlete type, but if he was, he wouldn't be going this late, right?
Yeah, that's
Uh,
exactly right.
yeah, yeah. Dave, what about you?
Well, here I was kind of I went defensive line. I went with Georgia Tech's Jordan Vandenberg. He's a very raw talent. He's a guy who he had over 1,300 steps. I shouldn't say raw talent, but he's probably one of the most athletic defensive linemen in the draft, and he's very strong against the run. But he lacks a lot of technique, footwork and hand technique, and at the line, he's got a lot of development. I mean, like you said, Steve, this is pick 187, so this guy isn't going to be a stud. But what he offers potentially is a guy that you can have potentially down there as like your fourth or fifth D lineman, for depth going forward. Just like how when we drafted Tim Settle, very, very similar. He wasn't the athletic freak that this guy was, but everything was there for against a run game, a guy that we were able to develop over the years, and he became a reliable defensive tackle down the road. So that's who I went with on this pick.
I think there's this round at this point. You're really just making guesses. We
Yeah.
all are, right? Like we're
You're
hoping
making
these guys
guesses
work.
in all of the rounds.
Well,
Um,
more educated with the first round picks than we are.
I think we kind of blew the snake order in this, by the
We
way.
did a little just because you and I picked the same guy.
Yeah.
So, why don't you just give your 209 pick?
All right. I like to identify them as within the
That's
pick
fair.
number within the
Yeah.
rounds because it's a
Sorry,
little
you do
easier
it
to
that
pick.
you
So
do it your way. Yeah,
round
that's
6,
fine.
pick 28. I went with an edge rusher. And before anybody says anything, I never said they don't need any edge rushers. Okay, what I was saying was they signed starting edge rushers. They can, the back of a flyer on the back of a draft, in the back of a draft guy, I think is totally acceptable. So I went with Mason Rieger, uh, from Wisconsin, 6'4", 250, big dude. You know, walk on at Louisville to start school. Went to, transferred to Michigan. Um, is he particularly fast? No. Is he athletic? No. But strong, good hand technique, relentless play style. I think you can always find a place for a guy like that. Will he have to be on the practice squad for a year? Yeah, maybe. But at this point, I think if you can find a player who can play, I think you go for it. So that was my pick.
Hey, for me, this might be my favorite pick of the draft, actually.
I wasn't
Uh,
available in the draft.
what's that?
I wasn't available to be drafted.
And yet here I am selecting you in this round. That's amazing. But I went with Caden Wetchen out of Iowa.
Okay.
Wide receiver. I mean, 5'9", 193 pounds, but he's by far the best special teams returner in this draft, and as a guy that can be that gadget player, guy that you wanted Deebo Samuels to be, maybe not year one, but definitely over time. He's a guy that has great vision, acceleration, and ability to navigate through traffic. So he's very, very good in the intermediate passing game, and he's pretty fearless coming across the middle. He's he's limited on his receiving production because he wasn't utilized quite a bit for that. So in turn, his route tree is very limited. It's scaled down. It's not where it needs to be. He doesn't have the size, obviously, being 5'9", 193. But he's a guy that gives you immediate special teams return. I know we have Jalen Lane, and people seem to love him, and I know we have Luke McCaffrey, and people's like, well, he's McCaffrey, so he's going to be a great player, whatever. But this guy, what he can bring on the special teams, just immediately flips the field, gives you, especially in this day and age on how the kickoff returns are, this is a guy that almost at any moment on the field can take it to the house. And he reminds me a lot of Dike Shamron, I think that's his last name right, from Tennessee. When they had him last year, he was by far the best returner in the game, and he not only flipped the field, he literally won games for that team last year, even though they only won a few games. But the point is, they were competitive all year long, primarily because of what he did on the return game, and this is what Wetching can do. I love this pick, and if they get this pick, it'd be fantastic.
Very good.
All right. So my pick at 209. This Dave loved his 209 pick. This is my most phoned in pick. I'm gonna be real with you. I was just like, you know what? We're this late in the draft. I haven't helped out the secondary at all. I need to just grab the best corner that I see on the board. So I grabbed Brett Austin out of Cal. Journeyman, I guess now. Can we start calling guys in college who go to like 3 schools journeyman? Like,
You can call him whatever you want, man.
yeah, I'm calling him a journeyman then. He JMU, South Florida, and then Cal. So like he's been around.
What he's doing is chasing NIL money, but continue.
Yes, they look, nothing wrong with that, I guess.
Don't
right
get
now.
me started.
I know.
There's a lot wrong with it, but don't get me
I'm just
started.
surprised you didn't pick a kicker here. That's all.
Well, we'll talk about why.
We're
We'll
getting
talk
to that.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was my pick. We need some depth in the secondary, so it made sense to me to address that at some point. All right, now I will go on my last pick. Steve, what's the rounded number? Because I just write
This is round 7, pick 7.
round 7 double sevens. Pick number 223. If you do it my way,
I should have said earlier we had pick 6, 7 for those of you who are on the younger side.
My grandson loves that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That seems appropriate. That's the right age for that nonsense. All right. I doubled up a position I've already done. I grabbed another receiver, Xavier Thomas out of LSU. And I did this because, well, Fields gives you that 6'4" size. This is a guy with 4.28 speed. And you know me, I want a guy who will take the top off the defense at any time. So he hasn't put up huge numbers in college, 400 yards a year roughly, but that's speed kills in the NFL, man. And if this is your 7th round pick, just get someone fast. There's never anything wrong with doing that. That's my mentality.
May mean he has terrible hands, but we'll see.
Probably. That's fine.
Myself, I went with edge out of Texas, Trey Moore. He's a high motor guy, very athletic. He runs a 4.54 40, 6'2", 243 pounds. He's more of a tweener than anything else. I mean, he's not I mean, he's not great on the edge and coverage of linebackers, but he can be a dedicated pass rusher on a 3-4 defensive setup, which would probably fit well in what Durante Jones wants to do here potentially. But in coverage, he struggles, but it's a 7th-round pick, So this is a guy who add depth for pass rush, a guy that can be groomed to be more so of a special teams threat on the on because you got to have guys on special teams, and with his speed and his range and covering sideline to sideline, he's very ideal to come in day one, if nothing else, to help out on the return on the coverage team.
For me, and with round 7, pick 7, I picked another safety, Jacoby Thomas, 6'1", 211 out of Miami. And the reason why I did that is it looks like he was much more highly rated than where he ended up being drafted. And again, when you're talking about round 7, I don't think need is really a priority for this.
You're taking shots, right? Like,
yeah, taking shots and the guy can play. Some of these analysts think that Thomas had starter potential. And so a guy like that, late in the draft, I couldn't pass him up. So, the hope would be he develops into somebody that can make a roster and contribute, which is, a unicorn in round 7. So I think with Thomas, they would have a shot at that.
Yep. So let's just give a quick recap. Everyone can just go through their names. Dave, who did you have all together?
Round 1, Jeremiah Love, then Elijah Sherratt, Matt Golden, center. Defensive line, Jordan Vandenberg. Wide receiver, Caden Wedgen, and edge, Trey Moore.
All right. Steve, you want to?
Yeah, I've got round 1, Caleb Downs. Round 3, Kyle Lewis, the linebacker from Pittsburgh. Round 5, Josh Cameron, the wide receiver from Baylor. Round 6, Red Murdoch. And I think that was round 6, pick 6, by the way, not pick 6, 7.
Just that's all right.
Yeah. And round 6, pick 28, Mason Rieger, the edge rusher. And round 7, Jacoby Thomas, the safety.
Right. And mine, to recap, David Bailey as our first pick, Malachi Fields, Nick Singleton, Red Murdoch as well, Brent Austin, and Zavon Thomas. The only thing I wish I had addressed the O-line a little bit there. But I'm pretty happy with how mine came out.
I don't think they need to address O-line. I don't think they need to address the corner group either, to be honest. I mean, they've got a lot of players on both of those, and so that's why I stayed away from O-line and corner. I mean, that's not to say, again, if somebody had popped up in late in round 6 or round 7 or whatever,
right, you're not going to get mad about it, right?
No, but that's just kind of why I stayed away, because I thought those were very low needs on the team, along obviously with quarterback. In the draft, I mean, my parting thought with all this is that if Jeremiah Love is available at pick 7, they need to run, not walk. To the point where I would almost trade up to get him. If he was up there to pick 5 or 6 or something, I might consider trading up.
Obviously I went with Bailey, but if Love were there, I might go Love over Bailey at this point.
They just need a running back like that desperately.
An offensive weapon like that would be outstanding. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the one position the offensive line that I think they have to address in this draft would be center. I just don't see Allegretti being that future. So that's the only real offensive lineman that which is why I went with Goldman the way I did. But
yeah, I understood. Yeah. I don't disagree with you there. I think the team may disagree with you. They seem to believe in Nick Allegretti for some weird reason.
Right.
But I don't disagree with you.
No, I don't. I when you made that pick, I was like, that probably is a smart play.
If they're going to draft somebody, it should be at center. Yeah, I agree there.
Yeah, and where you picked them too, that's actually probably where it would happen, that 3rd pick. Like, because drafting a lineman in like the 5th, 6th, 7th round is a waste. Like, because they don't play special teams, and that's kind of where you're going to get special teams usage. Right. So, like, picking them before that, in my mind, is always a better idea.
By the way, I'm going to, since I put so much effort into it,
right,
I'm going to replug my draft analysis columns.
You should.
That I did 5 years ago originally, but I updated it last year. And what I did was, because I had a ton of time on my hands for an entire month, apparently, I went and looked at every single draft pick for every single team all the way back to the year 2000.
Mhm.
and and then I took data for how many years they started, how many Pro Bowls, that kind of thing, and I came up with, I am, as far as I know, the most comprehensive draft study I've ever seen was done by yours truly. The first column was just the top 10 of the first round. Second column was the rest of round one and round two, and then third column was I think round three and four maybe, and then the fourth one was the rest of the draft. Because in the back of the draft, the bottom line is it actually went remarkably well in terms of percentages. I mean, it went down on a pretty even basis as to who were the success stories and who were not from round one to round seven. There was
Mhm.
nothing that out of the ordinary. And by the time you got into rounds, especially 6 and 7, it's a unicorn that ain't even can play at all. Trust me, a unicorn. It was to the point where I stopped doing publishing percentages of players who hit, because it was all a bunch of zeros,
Right.
basically. So that's on the website. You can search for the Hogside Draft Analysis. If you go to part 4, it'll have the links to all of them. So someday I may update them again. We'll see.
I remember that taking you forever to do it though when you did the first
It
one.
was a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. So
I don't know if I do
no,
it now, but
It was almost as good as anything PFF ever did for the draft.
oh, see, you're just
the
trying to
the
irritate me.
the
You're
the
intentionally trying to irritate me.
the now shut down PFF.
Yeah,
Yes.
tragedy strikes.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, Dave, you did ask me why I didn't draft a kicker in my mock draft. So let's talk about special teams in this year's rookie class. Uh, I am on Steve's side overall. I'm going to say special teams in the rookie class because you really shouldn't be drafting any of these guys that we're going to be focusing on. Just bring them in as undrafted free agents. That's fine. But uh, all right, I'm going to start by saying I'm going to do it a little differently from how I did my column. Long snappers. We don't need a long snapper. There's a couple names out there. It's almost not even worth going over who's there, but Garrison Grimes, uh, Bo Gardner, Rocco Underwood, Luke Basso. They look. You can go find any long snapper, probably put them on a team and be okay, or so we thought until we drafted Cameron Cheeseman that one year and traded up for him. That was a great day. Uh, but Washington luckily is stable at long. You're muted, Steve.
I mean, they needed a long snapper that year.
They
You
did.
knew they were going to draft one. There were three of them, and he was the third one. He was the only one of it. That's why they traded up. Because if you
Yeah, I know. I
notice,
know.
the second one was drafted a few spots ahead. So
Right, right.
it
They
didn't work, but
panicked.
that was a good move, I thought.
They panicked. uh, all right. In terms of the traditional roles that people actually care about, though, there are a couple decent returners. Dave, you mentioned one of your draft picks. You did because of special teams. I think it was the receiver, right?
Yeah.
The
Question.
the yeah, yeah. The big names for returners probably again doesn't fall to Washington just because of where they might get drafted. Baron Brown out of LSU though, he's being named a lot when you talk about guys who could be kick returners. Um, Junior, that's the one guy who might be able Washington might be able to snag. He's had 57 punt returns in the last 3 years, so he's got a lot of experience. Now, does Washington need a punt returner? No, but I think if you're grabbing running backs in the 5th round or receivers in the 5th round, they should be able to do it, right? You never know if Lane's going to get hurt. It's always good to have a bunch of guys who can return punts and kicks, because it is a high risk thing. Uh, Hank Beatley is the third one that I had seen mentioned around a lot. He's out of Illinois. Uh, kind of same thing. He would be like a day 3 pick. So like you're not risking a lot if you go for him. Uh, all those guys are smaller though. If you're looking for like the bigger type returns, this is not the year for that. Um, Punters, it is the year for. I will tell you that right now. There are 3 punters that seem to be out there this year, and I really like. You guys know me when it comes to punters. I don't look at yardage. I look at how often are you getting touchbacks versus how often are you getting that ball to land inside the 20 and stay there. Because that's what the great Tress Way does, and that's the way it should always be done. Brett Thorson out of Georgia is that kind of talent. He's Tress Way good. Now Washington, I don't think needs to get a punter right now. Tress is getting up there in age, but I don't think they're going to replace him. But that guy's really statistically impressive in that respect. Like over half his punts go land inside the 20, less than 4% are touchbacks. So that's really good. Brian Eckley out of Michigan State, Jack Bauermeister out of Texas. But those are the three names at punter. It is not a good year for kickers, I will tell you that. Lastly, there's, I think, 25 senior kickers coming out of college this year.
Will you please stop the suspense and just give the name?
Okay. All right. So
talking and talking. So Alex teased the group last week about a kicker he wanted Washington to draft just because of the name, and you've been droning on for an hour and a half here, and you haven't said the name. So just give us the name.
It's literally been 6 minutes.
Or the same difference.
Same difference.
It certainly feels like an hour plus.
All right. There is one very fun named kicker who probably will be, if any kicker gets drafted, it'll be this guy, even though he's probably not NFL caliber. Trey Smack out of Florida. How great would it be to just have a kicker named Smack? You know?
Does it matter if he's not good? Let's just bring him on the team just because of the name.
Right, exactly. I mean, the only thing would be better would be if there's a Billy Doink out there, you know?
Doink.
But yeah, here's the thing. When I say he's like nothing special, his career average or his average last year was 81%, I believe. Like that's kind of what his career is. He's an 81% kicker, which is okay, but that's not like great by any means.
It doesn't matter. I mean, he's got a great name.
Right. He has a great name. He does have a big leg overall, so that's what the NFL, they look at that more.
Do you understand that there is nobody on planet Earth that loves special teams more than Alex East?
Yes.
Do you know this?
No. There's special teams coaches out there. I'm sure they love.
I don't know if they care as much as you do.
Well, I know our special team scouts don't in DC because they can't find a kicker to save their life.
So you're not even pointing out the hypocrisy of me making fun of this when I tracked down a long snapper coach.
We talked about it last week. I don't need to recap everything. Every time we talk special teams, you want to talk about the long snapper.
I admit that was pretty nerdy, but I will say that the Washington needed a long snapper when I did that.
Absolutely, we did.
So I do a podcast with a bunch of nerds.
Yes.
There's a shock. You finally figured that out?
Dave, you know what happens when you hang out with a bunch of nerds? It makes you a nerd.
Maybe. All I know is it'd be great to have a tandem of Smack and Yankoff on this team.
It really would. Oh my God. I mean, you'd have to make Yankoff the long snapper to Smack. Oh, Smack's the kicker, right? So he'd be the holder. So, it'd be Yankoff with the hold and Smack.
So I will say...
Smacks the ball.
Look, I do think Washington needs to bring in some kickers, like for tryouts and stuff and for training camp.
I think it's a decent idea every year, unless you happen to have some,
I know they re-signed the guy from last year, but he wasn't anything special.
He was okay.
Yeah. I will, of course,
say... You're talking about Jake Moody, by the way.
Yeah, Moody, yeah. There are good kickers in the UFL again.
Yes, there is.
Please just bring in one of these guys who can hit it from 60 yards all the time instead of, like, struggling. Like, even the one kicker I kind of like in this rookie class, who's this kid out of New Mexico, Luke Drezwitsky. He's the most accurate, and I care about accuracy. Only missed one field goal, 18 for 19. But he's not a long-range guy. And I understand no coach or GM wants to bring in a guy who's only hit him from 45. So I get that. But yeah, bring in someone who can compete. That would be my only plea to Adam Peters if he were
This
ever
is
listening.
more kicker, punter, special teams time than any podcast has ever given this
All right, we're
subject.
done. We're at 9 minutes. We're done. All right, you happy?
I would have been happier if it had been 8 minutes.
No, I think you would have been happy if it was about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, I could have summarized the whole thing in 30 seconds. Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. We have to vamp sometimes, Steve. You know that.
I could tell some more prison stories if you want.
Well, we don't need more time about the time you got shanked.
No, it's not that story.
Well, speaking of things, we do have one story we should talk about that's on the list, and that is this crazy thing that happened in the NFL that the Giants traded their best player just before the draft, which is kind of surprising. Oh, it's not surprising because Lawrence said he wanted out, but the fact that they were able to get a trade done before the draft, get a first round pick, a top 10 pick, right? It was the 10th pick for Dexter Lawrence. I'm kind of shocked a team waited or was willing to do it before the draft and didn't make them wait till after. Because that to me is the more traditional move that teams want to make.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but again, I mean it's not that surprising that that Dexter Lawrence got traded, considering we've been hearing about it for weeks now. So.
Oh, sure, that's not surprising. No.
Well, I mean, at first when I saw the trade, I'm like, wow, the Bengals! I can't believe they just did that. The first initial reaction was that you give up a top 10 pick for that. But then when I actually started listening to, there were a couple Bengal fans, beat reporters. Of course, they had their comments, but when you start hearing some guys actually know football and the defensive line a lot better than me, when you look at what would be their biggest need that they had to address was their defensive line, and they're at pick 10 for defensive tackle that could be an impact in both the run and passing game. There was nobody there. And the best one you're going to get is probably mid second round. I think it was Zion Smith, I think his name is, and he's more of a run stuffer, decent pass rusher.
Sure.
But it's just what you get for impact at 28 years old, and you're not. And Steve, you know this. I mean, these first round picks he's high. I mean, they fail or they bust out more times than not anyway. So now they get themselves an all-pro player in there and a position to need, so they could beef up that defense. I mean, I after thinking about it, it was the right move. It was a good move. It was actually a bit risky for the Giants, to be honest with you, because after Dexter Lawrence, they don't have a great deal on that interior of the line right there. And
Well,
what are they going to get? And what are they going to get to replace that in the draft? That's going to be tough.
y'all need to understand something. Dexter Lawrence, the Bengals are eating a $20 million cap hit for Dexter Lawrence in 2026.
Right.
And they signed him to a $28 million extension.
Yes.
The Giants, after the trade, have $18.5 million in top 51 cap space. And so he was a guy, yes, great player, not debating that. But on the other hand, they could use the cap space.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably more what it is than anything, because he's 28. He's not old. He's in his prime.
Right.
So they could have kept him, but I mean, I think it was probably a financial decision more than anything else
Oh, I don't think there's
for
any...
the Giants.
Yes.
Well, look, Lawrence said he wanted out.
Yeah.
It was clear that was where he was at.
See, I'm stubborn enough that if a player tells me that, the answer would be no, just because you asked.
Right.
I'm not kowtowing to these players, who are making these things. But Brandon Ayuk's of the world, no, you're staying just because. I'm not setting that. That's what I would have done with Trent Williams years ago with Washington too. But the Giants capitulated. But again, I don't think they're that unhappy about about gaining some cap space.
I don't think they mind the cap space. And look, you got a first round pick, which is good because you can build with that. But he really was their best player on defense, without a question.
Yes.
Like I saw something when he first requested a trade. Someone reposted something about how, like, they had asked Redskins or Washington interior linemen and exterior, like who's the best guy you played against in the division all year? Every one of them said it was Lawrence, that he was the best, uh, you know, defensive tackle, defensive end that most of them faced all year.
And by the way, Lawrence has a $13.9 million dead cap hit, so they saved, 7 million-ish, 6-7 million. It's not a ton, but some.
And of course, Washington fans can't help themselves. Someone out there, I forget who it was, put Lawrence right next to Payne. Numbers are similar and throughout their career and everything, and they're thinking, well, they can get that for Lawrence. Man, we could probably get. I was like, stop.
Right.
I mean, Lawrence was consistently that good in the game, and he wreaked havoc every single game. Payne,
Oh yeah.
Payne would have a couple of high impactful games disappear, and then come out big in his contract year. I mean, come on, man. Dexter Lawrence isn't that guy. He's better than that guy. So
significantly.
Yeah, no, I
better.
agree.
Yeah. Yeah. If they wanted to trade Payne, I'm sure they could have gotten something for him. It would have been like a 4th, 5th rounder type thing. It wouldn't have been.
Well,
bad.
he's got a big cap hit.
Right.
But on the other hand, I just closed my chart, but he didn't have a long-term contract either, so
right.
I mean that's valuable.
Right. That's true. But yeah, the thing that I thought was funny were the people I saw saying, "Oh, Washington should trade." You think that the Giants would
To
have
do
traded?
what?
Yeah.
No, of course not. That's
Right.
dumb.
The Giants would never have traded him to Washington.
Well, even if they would have, they don't need to trade for a defensive tackle. Okay?
No.
The last thing they need is a defensive tackle.
Right.
If you're going to do that, you got to get rid of Kinlaw or Payne, one of the two.
Right. Right. You could maybe have a swap as part of it, but
yeah, that would be the only way.
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't happen very often anymore anyway in the NFL.
No.
A position for position swap, I can't remember the last time I saw one of those.
Well, it wouldn't be I mean, it would be plus a draft pick coming from Washington's side.
Sure. Right. Yeah. But anyway, it was never going to happen. The Giants wouldn't have traded their best guy to Washington.
No, not to Washington.
No, not at all.
That'd be insane. All right. Well, you know what, guys? I think that does it for the show, though. We will be tweeting, I think, during the draft. I don't know who's doing it because I have to work super late, and I hope to be home before the draft starts. But
it'll just have to be a mystery, Alex,
it'll be a
tweet
mystery.
Public.
All right. To the twits out there. Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Sure. That's what I'm calling them. All right, guys. We will talk to you all after the draft as we recap whatever Washington does. Washington, if you draft an O-lineman in the first round, I'm going to be mad. I'm just going to say that. No O-line.
I'm sure they'll care.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll talk to you all next week.
Later.
I didn't realize my